The Makers with Heart are focusing on the stamp of the month, which is from Owl of Us. And it's this cute little stamp set, which now has thin cuts. Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker, and I am joining for the October 2023 collaboration with the Makers with Heart. One of my favorite things about the new catalogs was these thin cuts that are coming with some of our stamp of the months. Not every month, but some months. This is my first card for my Stamp of the Month Club for my customers, and so I thought that would be a great one to do for my Makers with Heart to demonstrate this card. I'm going to take this card, and you get all the little pieces in your kit, and I'm going to show you why I sent this extra piece. I sent it to help you line up your stamp if you're using a stamping platform. If you're not using a stamping platform, you will not want the outside piece. You can just throw it away or whatever you want to do. And you're going to take the stamp and line it up just as close as you can to perfectly inside those lines. It usually takes me a second to kind of look at it from each direction and see if I have it centered up the way I like. And then I close my lid and pick up the stamp, and then I will ink it up. I'm actually going to change the sentiment just a little bit on the card because I think I want to stamp it in Harbour rather than Journey. I don't know why I stamped it in Journey. I thought that was what was in my papers, and then I realized it was actually Harbour. So I think it'll look even better if you can stamp it with Harbour. And that's pretty good, but I think I'd like it just a little bit darker. And that's the beauty of using a mini MISTI or some sort of stamping platform. I like to do this stamping first. I'm using our intense black ink. By using this first, it gives it a little time for that ink to set before I start my coloring. Pretty good. That's what I like. So now I'm done with this piece. The next thing I'm going to do is start assembling some of my pieces. I am going to stamp, but I want to do it after I assemble it. So I'm going to kind of lay these out. If you want to ink distress the edges, you can. You certainly don't have to. I'm going to lay those out just the way I want to put them on so I can figure out about how much border I want around the sides. This is the one that I'm going to be stamping on. I like that has a little bit of color along the top. This one, I like to put the adhesive on it on my all-purpose mat. That way, any excess adhesive I can just rub off. Because my adhesive runner is just a little wider than this strip. This was actually a zip strip that I cut in half, lengthwise. This is going to go up there. Let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment. Hope your birthday's a hoot. That's what I'm stamping. And I'm using the Harbour. I think this will look even better than the Journey. And you can see why I stamp it once my card's assembled. It goes off just a smidge, just the tiniest amount. Then I'm going to take my little embellishment and stick that down. And then my Harbour circle is going to go right here. And then I'm ready for my coloring. My 3 colors are brown gray blend, vintage blue blend, and gold yellow blend. Those are the 3 that I'm using. I think I'll start with my gold yellow blend. And I am going to start at my lightest shade. When my ink might not be all the way dry, I just go in and kind of dot, dot, dot. If I start rubbing like this when I color and the ink is not set, it will smear. But because it's an alcohol ink and it kind of spreads a little, just by dot, 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 that's all I need for it to spread. And then this is the lightest of the vintage blue blend. You'd probably want the lightest or the second shade. I like the lightest. And again, just dot, dot, dot. That's all I need. If your eyes are not as black as you want when you stamp it, you can always bring in some sort of black journaling pen and shade them in darker. And last, I'm going to do my coloring in the brown gray blend. And I think I'm going to start with the lightest shade. And especially when I'm right around the edges, I'm still going to dot. I would suggest maybe you stamp it and let it sit a little bit while longer, but I did not stamp this ahead. When I'm coloring animals, something that might be furry or feathery, sometimes I like to take my marker and make little swirlies, like little loop-de-loop-de-loop as I'm coloring, and that gives it a furry look. I did that on some parts of this. I'm not sure if I left it in, but that just gives it a really furry, natural look instead of lines that go back and forth like streaks. I like to just do rounded lines. And I continued with that lightest shade still for the tail feathers on the little owl as well. And next I'm going to do the medium. And I'm going to dot around the lines. For this not being stamped very long, it's actually doing a really nice job of not smearing. The alcohol ink's a very wet ink. That's why it's best to let the ink sit and dry before you put it on to any stamped image. So I normally produce my videos for Makers with Heart I publish them on Mondays. Unfortunately, Kim is not able to join us. Please keep her and her family in your prayers. So instead of having a gap in our week, I moved up to Saturday this time so that the days can run consecutively for you to watch our videos for the Makers with Heart collaboration. I normally go on Mondays because I'm a procrastinator. And I like the weekends to publish my videos. That's really the reason I'm a Monday girl. So those of you that have placed your $50 order with me this month, your card kits are ready and waiting. Maybe some of you have already received yours by the time you see this video. There we go. So then I like to pop it up. You can just use regular adhesive to put it down. I'm going to use my thin 3D foam dots. You could use thick too. I mean, you do have this big gem on the front of it. You can use the tape. You can use the dots. He's already flying off my desk. This would probably be a card that I hand deliver, or I'd be paying some extra postage for that guy right there. But I really liked, this is one of the durables, and I don't know how many of you have been around close to my heart long enough to remember those. But when I dug those out last week, I was amazed at how well they went with the papers from The Good Life. I just thought it looked so great with them. So I figured I would stick it on some cards, and I put them on a bunch of scrapbook pages as well. I think this little guy would be adorable on a scrapbook page. We have farmers around us, and some of them have owls in their barns, and we definitely can hear them when they get going. So I really like this owl set. There we go. So there's a cute little card for my Makers with Heart collaboration on the stamp of the month with the thin cut from Owl of Us is what the set is called. So hope you like that. I like it a lot more with the Harbour ink down here. And one of the other cards that I'm going to feature in my upcoming videos, I actually use liquid glass on the eyes, and that's something extra you might want to add. It really gives a nice effect. So here's card 1. Be on the lookout for my next 2 cards as well. And I think Amanda will finish us up tomorrow. So I hope you've enjoyed our collaboration.